Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechezarta binishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha, modani lefanayech, melech chai v'kayam, shehechezarta binishmati bechemla, bechemla, Rabba emunate, Rabba emunate, Rabba emunatecha.
Well, thank you all for coming, and I mean thank you all for coming, because now we can continue with our service. So thank you so much. This reminds me, by the way, of the congregation that I used to serve while I was in rabbinic school in Ogden, Utah. Yes, the answer is there are Jews in Utah. And shout out if you're watching. No one is. But if you're watching, Brit Sholem in Ogden, Utah. An incredible congregation, but they only had about 45 members of the whole congregation, and they all made this vow that they would all try to come every Shabbat morning, because if one family thought, well, it's okay if I don't come, what about the other family that says maybe I won't come, and then they'll never have a minyan? So they made this like pact, and it was like a good showing almost every single Shabbat, and they would have, some of them had to drive, because they drive like 40 minutes or 50 minutes each way, because it was the only synagogue that was near them, because they were about 45 minutes north of Salt Lake. So it was a historic building, and it's a beautiful place. So shout out to them, to Ogden. And Shabbat Shalom to you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Everyone. So nice to be with you on this Shabbat, and the Shabbat Shuvah, our Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, our Shabbat of return. It is not our custom to chant Haftarah in our service. We are not going to, because it is our custom not to. But if we were, we would be chanting from the book of Hosea, which is the line that says Shuvah, which is why it's called Shabbat Shuvah, and the idea of the return, because that's Shuvah, to return, this idea in this time. So not only a shout out to Brit Sholem, but to Hosea as well, even though we're not going to be hanging out with him collectively today. Although you're welcome to hang out with him after services if you'd like, and read up on Hosea. But the ghost of Hosea. But it's a pretty fascinating, beautiful, and interesting piece of text that obviously falls right where it's supposed to for us on Shabbat Shuvah. If you are following us on our live stream and you need to find the pages virtually, you can do that. CBIBoca.org is where you go to our website, CBIBoca.org. At the top left, there's a menu button. Hit that menu button, and then they'll say something that says services, I think it says, services or prayer. At this point, I feel like I should know what that word is there in the upper left corner. You're going to press that, and it takes you right to the service page. You'll see a lovely picture of the Regal Hops, and then below that, and then below that is a nice picture of Cantor Muchnick. And parallel to Cantor Muchnick's picture is a button you can press to take you to the virtual prayer book. This is not Cantor Muchnick, by the way, over here to my left, if you're wondering on the live stream. This is Robin Kuda, so thank you for being here. Robin,
thank you for having me.
To add into our prayer, into our presence, into your beautiful voice. And so we are going to continue now. I'm trying to see where we're going to continue today. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. What do you feel like? Where do you want to go? Do you want to do Psukkah Zimra? What do you want to do? Robin, do you have a preference?
I want to do Elohai. I want to do...
Do you want to do Elohai? Let's do Elohai. 174.
Elohai Neshama Shenatata bi Elohai Neshama Shenatata bi Tehorai You created me, you shaped me, you breathed me into life. You created me, you made me, you breathed me into life. Elohai Neshama Shenatata bi Elohai Neshama Shenatata bi A little information about that song. It's written by a teen named Casey Prusher. She was the winner of the Nifty songwriting competition one year. So,
That was really
Casey
pretty.
Prusher, really beautiful.
That was very pretty. So let's continue with Psukkah Zimra, page 183.
Baruch Shamar v'haya ha'olam,
Baruch Hu,
Baruch Osei v'reishit,
Baruch Omer ve'oseh,
Baruch Gozer Makayim,
Baruch Merachem al ha'aretz,
Baruch Merachem al habriot,
Baruch Meshalem Shachar Tov L'Leah,
Baruch Chai la'ad v'kayim la'netzach.
Baruch Podeh Matzil, Baruch Shemo.
Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be.
Blessed is the one.
Blessed is the one who continually authors creation.
Blessed is the one whose word is deed.
Blessed is the one who decrees and fulfills.
Blessed is the one who is compassionate towards the world.
Blessed is the one who is compassionate towards all creatures.
Blessed is the one who rewards the reverent.
Blessed is the one who exists for all time, ever enduring.
Blessed is the one who redeems and saves. That is God's name.
With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, for you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe, praised and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mehulal b'tishbachot.
Continue with Shochen Ad 192.
Shochen ad maharom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv raninu tzadikim baronai laisharim navatahila b'fi yesharim tithalal u'divrei tzadikim titbarach u'vilshon chasidim titromam u'vekerev kedoshim titkadash Uvmachalot revivot amcha bet Yisrael Brina yitpar shimcha malkeinu bechol dor vador Yishtabach Shimcha Lahad Malkeinu. Ha'el HaMelech HaGadol VeHaKadosh B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz. Baruch atah Adonai, El Melech Gadol Batishbachot, El Ha'oda'ot Adon HaNiflaot, Habocher B'shirei Zimra, Melech Elchei Ha'olamim.
Chatzi Kadesh, 194.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah,
Amen.
v'yalmad yivarach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yamechon v'chayir kol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman korariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitatar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesho brichu le'ela min kol birachata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yalma v'yimeru amen.
We stand for the Baruch Hu 195.
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam v'amen.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or v'choshech oseh shalom uboreh et hakol. Continue with Ahava Rabbah 198.
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem Lagedol V'Terah Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avor Avotenu Be'imotenu Shebatchu V'cha V'lamdem Chukei Chayim V'ha'erinenu B'Toratecha V'dahabek Libeinu B'mitzvotecha V'yachid Levavenu Le'ahava U'yira Et Shemecha V'lo Nevosh V'lo Nikalem V'lo Nikasher Le'olam va'ed V'lo Nevosh V'lo Nikalem V'lo Nikasher Le'olam va'ed Ki v'shem Kodshecha Hagadol v'hanora b'tachnu Nagila v'nismecha Nagila v'nismecha v'shuatecha Baruch atah Adonai Habocher be'amo Yisrael B'ahava
200.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed
201.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
202.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם. ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet. Continue with our song of redemption, Mi Chamocha 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נאורות תהילות הספר. שיר החודשה, שיבחו גאולים, לשמך שפתיים. יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדכי נמך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Continue with the Amidah in a moment. Don't forget when we go through on this Shabbat Shuvah that there are a bunch of insertions for us to follow, both in the part that we do aloud and in the part that we will do silently. Now we continue on page 205.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vizocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכתבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אמן. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומך לך, מלך ממיד ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אמן.
Kedusha 208.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We'll take some time now for our own silent prayers, thoughts, and meditations here from page 210 through page 219. And once again, there are a couple of Shabbat Shuvah. The sound went up. There are a couple of Shabbat Shuvah insertions for you to add. Again, 210 to 219. When you're finished, please be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We continue now with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, service referring the Torah, which can be found on page 244.
Ein kamocha ve'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha, malchutecha, malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor vador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please stand.
Av harachamim heitiva v'tzoncha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki v'cha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim.
246.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai me'Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad, echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Please be seated. We are going to be doing a little study together on this fine Shabbat morning. We'll be reading from the Torah portion of Vayelech. Vayelech is where we're going to be reading from. Vayelech, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 31. Deuteronomy chapter 31. And it is the smallest Torah portion the shortest, smallest Torah portion in the entire Torah. So it's literally just chapter 31. And she's going to chant the whole thing. And Robin's going to chant it 3 times, just to make it feel like we've accomplished something. She's going to chant it 3 times, and really slowly. Yeah, pronouncing each of the tamim. No. So again, Deuteronomy 31, and just 31. It's actually going to be our goal to get through the whole thing. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know. We've never done it before. We've never really gotten past like 5 verses. So, ever. Since I've been here. In 5 years. Yes?
Rabbi, I have a question.
You have a question already? We haven't started yet, Jay. Okay, great. I love it. Yeah.
In your Shabbat message
Yes.
yesterday, was a picture of Moses with a staff.
Yes.
You said it was either, it could have been his walking stick, or it could have been a shepherd's staff.
Yes.
Was,
Yeah.
was Moses a shepherd?
Yes. Moses was a shepherd. Yeah. Yes. He was a shepherd, which is probably why, well, who knows? There are a myriad of reasons why God chose him to be the one to do all of the stuff that he did, but probably because he was a shepherd, and maybe God thought he might be able, if he shepherds sheep, he might be able to shepherd the people. So yeah, that was it could have been. That was his. It was his main vocation. After he left Egypt with the taskmaster incident, you remember all of that, and then he goes into the desert, and then he becomes a shepherd. Yeah, it's a good question. Even before we start, great, I love it. Thanks, Jay. All right, let's do our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay, so Vayelech is essentially the second to last Torah portion in the Torah, even though there are 2 more after this. But the last Torah portion we don't do individually. It's the one that we do on Simchat Torah that we read to end and then start again. So it never gets its own week. So really, in terms of our own weeks of Torah, it's this week and next week, and then we're really done with the Torah, except for, like I said, that bit that we read from V'zot HaBracha, which is the end of the end of the end of the end, that transitions us, and it's also very short. That transitions us into Simchat Torah and into Genesis, right back into the cycle. So this is essentially, and I love to say this because it makes me sound smart, essentially the penultimate. See what I did there? I've been practicing all week to get to say penultimate. Thank you. Thank you for those who are acknowledging my great grammatical skills. Thank you. I'm getting a thumbs up from Dr. Bob. Thank you. And I got both Bobs. Both Bobs got to give me a thumbs up. That's pretty great. Oh, Harry got a thumbs up. Harry? What? It's awesome. I got a side thumb from Harry. Like, yeah, maybe you could have done better. All right. So, since I'm talking for so long, we're never going to be able to read this whole chapter. All right. Let's just see. Let's see what we got. Please, if you don't mind, to start us off, that would be great.
Moses went and spoke these things to all Israel. He said to them, I am now 120 years old. I can no longer be active. Moreover, the Eternal has said to me, you shall not go across yonder Jordan. It is indeed the Eternal your God who will cross over before you and who will wipe out those nations from your path, and you shall dispossess them. Joshua is the one who shall cross before you, as the Eternal has spoken. The Eternal will do to them as was done to Sihon and Og, kings of the Amorites, and to their countries, when God wiped them out. The Eternal will deliver them up to you, and you shall deal with them in full accordance with the instruction that I have enjoined upon you. Be strong and resolute, be not in fear or in dread of them, for it is indeed the Eternal your God who marches with you. God will not fail you or forsake you.
Thank you. Okay. Well done. How about that sound system we just got worked on? Isn't it nice and clear and crisp in here? It's very nice. What's that? Me? I'm tinny? Oh, I'm tinny? Well, because that mic is, that mic is fabulous. The wireless is never as good as the... Okay, so what do we have so far? What do we have going on so far in Vayelech? What does Vayelech mean? It's in the first couple of words. What's that? Well, it's even before spoke. Went. Thank you very much. Yes. So Vayelech, and Moses went and spoke these things. Because what's Moses been doing for a while now? Talking. For how long?
37 days.
37 days. All right, good. I've said this like I'm said it too many times. Yeah, 37-day long speech. Hi, Ian. 37-day long speech. And how old is he?
120.
How's 120?
120.
Exactly. He's 120, which is why when we say to someone you should live till 120, this is where it comes from. It comes from this moment right here. The Israelis, by the way, in their cleverness, play with this, and they say you should live till 120, or you should live till 100 like you're 20, and they play with this concept a lot. It's very Israeli of them. Okay. So Moses goes to speak. He is about to die. He's 120 years old, and it says, "I can no longer be active." What does that mean? I mean, I know what that means in English, but well, he's old. Yeah. What else does that mean?
He's going to die.
He's gonna die.
He feels like he's done everything that he can.
Ah, interesting, nice. So he feels like he's done whatever he can for these people. I'm going to repeat what you're saying 1,000 times because the live stream doesn't hear any one of you're saying. So I want to make sure that they're here. I'm not just speaking for extra speaking. Yes. No, it's okay because then we don't know with the mic and everyone. And yeah. Yes, Amy. Yes.
And in the days of awe, and it's striking me now that this is 37 days of preparation
Yeah.
to hand over the torch.
Brilliant. Yes. Nice. Right. So that we're in preparation for what's why the Torah portions sit where they are. We're in preparation for these 10 days of repentance, and the 37 days has been preparing everybody for this moment. Moses, Joshua, the people. Everyone's now prepared for this big transition. Yeah. Nice. Yes. So what Harry's saying is that what he's doing is really, really important because he's setting the stage for the succession. Nice. Peaceful. Yes. Exactly. Nice. Good. Thank you. Yeah, he's doing this beautifully. Right? And this is not the first time we've heard, by the way, that Joshua is going to take over. This is it shouldn't come out of left field for us. Like, what? It's happening? We've been hearing this for a while. But it's finally here. So it's finally here. And what's interesting, by the way, is that the English says be active. I can no longer be active, right, in the English. There's no good translation for it because the Hebrew says latzet velavo, which means to go out and to enter. That's actually what the Hebrew says. Moreover, right, that's what it says. I'm 120 years old, and I can no longer go out and enter with you, essentially. Meaning, like the rigor of going in and out and dealing with the details, I think is what the text is saying. I can no longer do that, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. Latzet, kitetze, same thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's the what's the word? Infinitive. I don't know anything about grammar in English or Hebrew. Don't ask me. So yes, but I think that's it. Yes.
Being more specific.
Yeah. What's being more specific?
He's being more specific. I can't go in. I can't go out.
Yes, he's very specific. Exactly. I can't go in. I can't go out. I can't have these dealings. Yeah, these constant one-on-one dealings. Yeah. Yes. You got a big problem with this. Okay, good. Say that again? So, uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. You're saying yeah. Okay. So you're saying that that there's a discomfort about this. God is on your side when it comes to the wars you're saying and to these. What's that? Uh-huh. Okay. Nice. No, it's not the last time. No, and it's clearly going to be carried on into the book of Joshua as well, because this is what we're going to hear the theme of this. So it's not easy. It's definitely problematic. Yeah. Were you going to say something?
No, I agree.
Okay. All right. You agree. Okay. All right. Okay. So you did say something. You agreed. Okay. So it says, God, your God, will cross over with you, and God will wipe out these nations, which is problematic, right? But we've experienced it already, because it says, like God did for Sichon, which, by the way, you pronounced beautifully, and Og and the kings of the Amorites, and so we will be delivered with full accordance, and that's kind of where we're at, except for this last piece. Yeah.
So can we address this to his point?
Sure, we can address this to his point. Sure.
Deliverance to accordance is a birthday, is it not? So at what point are we the proprietors of this area? I guess I was struck by the point that this is sort of saying this is delivered in accordance to us.
Yeah.
Is that not like squatting to a certain extent, or what is that then? We're supposed to wipe these people out so that we are delivered with accordance to the land? That doesn't sound.
Well, the land is, according to this text, already theirs. It's not really pushing anyone out, because it actually already belongs to them. Yes, but it's there already.
God says he's moving them out. He's going to get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, God is going to do it, right? But
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, couldn't you do Israeli settlements, like, not to get too political, but like,
Yeah.
couldn't you justify the settlement argument through this?
yeah, okay. So if we just touch on it for 10 seconds, the settlement discussion in Israel, you're saying it connects in which direction?
Well, I would say that Bibi was right.
Yeah, no, that the land belongs to us. That the land, yeah, that's what the conversation is. That's the exact conversation in Israel. Yeah, and by the way, if this is a good transition away from this topic, is if it interests you, by the way, this conversation, either we can have it here at some point, or if you're able to do it, the Melton Center, which is a learning center, is incredible, and they have a beautiful, it's a several-week learning that you can, about this particular land issue, about where's the land ownership and where it transfers and where it was to begin with, and the whole discussion of the conflict over the land and settlements is all done from a historic perspective in this course. It's really beautifully done if it interests you. So, okay. So, yeah. Yes. Yes, to be separate. This isn't separate? Do you think this is what comes naturally? Right, but I don't think that it's being done. All right, so what you're saying is that this is to the question is, usually we do things to be different and unique. And you're saying that going in and doing this particular thing versus in verse 4 and 5, you're saying are not unique because this is what people do when they go into a land. So I would say it's not, though, for the same reason, I would say. I would say it's not for the possessions and for the land. It's for the culture and the process to not allow ourselves to fall into that system. Because don't forget, these are very young people. This is it's so easy to fall back and to be lured into what could be an easier system. But so the best way to do it is to not even allow you to see it, because otherwise you're going to be lured into it. This is a whole conversation that happens, by the way, in text about like the Roman period, about rabbis in the Roman period who were enchanted so deeply by the Roman culture that they were pulled away from their Judaism because it was so beautiful and so interesting, and right. So I see it that way. I mean, I don't see it as taking land for possession, which is what maybe other countries were doing and civilizations were doing for the sake of taking land. I think it's for the sake of allowing us to perpetuate the new version of what we're trying to do, of what God is trying to teach the Israelites, to not behave in that path. Yeah. Right, but I don't think this is what this is about. I mean, I don't think it's that kind of war. I think it's a teaching that, particularly for Moses here, to remind the Israelites to say, what's that? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily say that in all of these parts. It doesn't necessarily say that. So, yeah. What's that? Well, it doesn't say that here. It doesn't say that in this text. And don't forget, this is Moses just in the 37 days reflecting his last minute thoughts to say, look, you are going to enter this land. God's going to take care of this part for you. But the rest of it is on you. I think that's what the text is trying to say. That God's going to say, but the cultures and the culture and the stuff we've been teaching you is what Moses is saying through the books of Exodus and through the books of Leviticus. This is the stuff that you have to really resonate with and connect to. So that I'm seeing it. I see it differently. Thanks. Yes.
So maybe this advances this conversation a little forward, because like 14, like verse 14 is where things get weird for me when I was reading it. Because you mentioned this is a whole like 37-day long speech, and all of a sudden.
Okay, well, let's get there. We're gonna get there. Okay. All right. So here, let's go to verse 6. So verse 6 says, "Be strong and resolute. Be not in fear or in dread of them." Right? So strong and resolute, but by the way, is the theme of this Torah portion. We're going to hear this 3 different times. This is the first time. Be strong and resolute. Chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and resolute in what you're doing. So first of all, I want us to tie this back to a bunch of different things. First of all, there's a transition of leadership. So be strong and resolute. That's the message that Moses is giving to everybody. Moses is giving this, obviously, to Joshua. Moses is giving it to the people. Moses is giving it, by the way, to us, sitting right here, right now. Why is Moses giving it to us right now, at this moment? At this exact moment. Why at this exact moment? Why?
Preparing them for his death.
No, for us. Why is Moses... So what Moses is saying is preparing himself because he wants to say, I want to be strong and resolute. I'm about to die. He's obviously saying it to Joshua because Joshua has to be strong and resolute as he takes the reins. But why does the message fall on us at this second right now when we're sitting in our space, in our time, in this moment, on our calendar?
Because of COVID.
Well, okay, maybe it speaks to us because of COVID, all right? But what about Jewishly in our calendar? It's Yom Kippur. We're right in the middle. This Torah portion, by the way, will always fall either before Rosh Hashanah, the Torah portion right before Rosh Hashanah, or the Torah portion in the middle of the two. Always. So interesting that it sits here for us to be strong and resolute, to not only hear it from Moses for Joshua, for Moses to say it for himself, but for Moses also to say it to us, to say, you have to be strong and resolute in the middle of all this. Yeah?
Does resolute here translate as committed?
Does it translate as committed? Sure. Strong, committed. How else would you translate resolute? Determined. I think that's nice. Yeah? What else?
Decisive.
What's that? Decisive? Oh, that's nice. I was like, where'd that come from? You have the mic. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Okay. So be strong and resolute. So and feel that. So what's also interesting, by the way, about the grammatical structure of this in this first one, it happens 3 times. This is point number 1 that happens. It says chisku ve'imtzu, which is in the plural. So it's saying collectively, you all need to be strong and resolute. It doesn't get that enough in the English. It says be strong and resolute, but it's there's no y'all. It's y'all. It's the best way. It's literally the best. It's the best way to do it. To translate this collective idea, y'all need to be strong and resolute in the middle of this. Because then when we continue on 7, so please continue for us on verse 7.
Then Moses called Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and resolute, for it is you who shall go with this people into the land that the Eternal swore to their fathers to give to them, and it is you who shall apportion it to them. And it is indeed the Eternal who will go before you. God will be with you and will not fail you or forsake you. Fear not and be not dismayed.
Okay, so here's the second one. Here, right? So in verse 7, and Moses called Joshua and said to him, where? In front of everybody. For everybody. He says, be strong and resolute. So the first one perhaps is for us, right? The second one is for who? For Joshua. And now that, by the way, is in the singular. There's no y'all in that one, right? That just says chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and resolute. You individually. So maybe the first one is collective for us. Maybe the second one is singular. Maybe also for us. Because maybe we got our own stuff that we're dealing with. Our own personal things that we're working on that we have to be strong and resolute about at this time. There's a reason why Vayelech is in this spot every single year. Right? Go be strong and resolute. And you shall go with the people into the land. Now, what do you think this is doing to Moses? What do you think, while he's saying this, what do you think this is doing to Moses?
He feels as though he's passing the baton on.
Yeah, he's passing the baton. But how do you think he feels about passing this baton? Yeah? What? Scared? Yeah? How else? What?
He's afraid that all of this is for nothing.
All this is for nothing. I've been schlepping you people for this long, and all this is, might be for nothing. Yeah, Robin? Apprehensive. Yeah, yes. You see it the other way. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Good. Good. I think it's both. I think that he has a relief. I think there's a beautiful teaching, a very modern teaching that Moses is like someone who starts their own business, and they keep track of all their invoices on pieces of paper and in shoeboxes and all over their warehouse shoeboxes. They can go back and check from 10 years ago and 20 years ago. And some person some person who works for them says, "Hey, listen, there's something called a computer that you can use, and it's going to make it a little easier for you to keep everything. You don't have to use up all the space." And the founder of the business says, "No, it's okay. I got it. The shoeboxes are going to work perfectly." And we know that doesn't work anymore, right? And so there's a beautiful teaching that says when he sees the other companies doing better than he is at the idea that he started, he realizes that the guy who told him about the computer was right, and maybe that person was Joshua. And he says at this point, maybe, you know what? I founded this company, I took it as far as it could, but I am not capable of doing the next step. And I'm okay with that. I love this so much. I love this business so much. I can honestly say I can't do it. So you do it because I'm going to trust it better. Yes? Yeah? Yeah. 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 No? Okay. Yeah. I think that Moses is upset because he won't ever see it. Right? That's the part. I mean, God willing, you'll see it for a long time to come, how you plant your seeds. Exactly. But that's he didn't obey. But yeah. Exactly.
I agree with all of that, but it's like, he's not saying he hit a rock. Like,
Well,
he wasn't supposed to hit the rock. But like,
he wasn't supposed to hit the rock. He was supposed to talk to it. He hit it. He hit it twice. It's still a rock. It's true. That wasn't the first time that's not the first time he didn't obey. If we had another hour, we could dissect Moses in this Torah portion.
I appreciate all of that, and like the idea of like he is imparting wisdom on a life well lived, and 120 did all these amazing things. But like, are we really thinking that he's of the mind? I mean, like to me, I hear a lot of anger in his voice and like resentment in his voice. He's like, this is totally unfair. Like, I did all of this for all of you guys. You better do this because I didn't do all of this for nothing.
Yeah.
I guess I don't hear it like you're like I don't hear it in the same way.
So rather than the fulfillment you're saying and the contentment on this, you're saying it's maybe the opposite, that he's angry and he's frustrated and he can't believe it and he feels that it's unfair. It's possible. What? People reading Torah and having different opinions? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, great. You know what? And you know what? You're not wrong. You know why? We don't know. It's your opinion. Well, sometimes your opinions are wrong. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. turn the mic off. I'm sorry, could you put your mask on for us in the back? I'm so sorry. Could you put your mask on for us? Okay, sorry. Yeah, yes.
There's a conflict within themselves of wanting the release and wanting to be let go and wanting permission to let go
Yeah.
versus I want to be here for you.
Uh-huh.
I continue my love and duty and mission to you. But in 8, Moses is saying it is the eternal who will go before you and be with you and will not fail you or forsake you. So I hear, I may be leaving this body in this world, but the fourth CEO or the highest one in this
Yeah.
company is still there and will not forsake you. So you can't interpret my forsaking you. It's my time, but that constant eternal will be there for you forever.
That's nice to say, right, that I might be going, but the constant is here. And by the way, he never leaves that. No matter how many times he screws up or doesn't screw up or what he does, or each time he gives credit to God to say, look, this is the constant. Whether I'm here or not here, or I mess up, or I hit a rock or don't hit a rock, or hit it twice when I'm supposed to, or not hit it when I'm supposed to. Or, by the way, did I murder someone, right? Because there's a whole idea of murder. Was it murder? Was it not murder, right? The text comes to his rescue and says it's not murder, right? But it doesn't matter all those things. Because what he does do well, except for a couple of moments, which is also why maybe he's in trouble, but almost his whole life, he gives the credit to God. That says, you know what? The constant is always going to be constant, no matter what. So, yes.
Yeah, so for 37 days, he's been telling us what he's been telling us.
Yeah?
And this is the last shot that he has. And he's showing that he's got all kinds of mixed emotions with this. Okay, but I think in his mind that he feels good about what he's doing in passing the baton because he feels that this is the thing that he has to do. God didn't tell him to do it his own mind. With his own free will, he's doing it.
He's doing what?
He's passing the baton. He's saying, I've done everything I can do, and now it's your turn.
It's interesting. So that he's come to this realization on his own that he needs to pass the baton. That he maybe feels like a growth, a personal growth to say, yes, I have reached this point and I can pass the baton. Okay, all right, okay. So all this, by the way, in the middle of this transition, let's just jump a little bit here. Let's go to verse 22. Verse 22. We're going to go from 22 to the end, and then we're going to stop. Please.
That day, Moses wrote down this poem and taught it to the Israelites. And God charged Joshua, son of Nun, be strong and resolute, for you shall bring the Israelites into the land that I promised them on oath, and I will be with you. When Moses had put down in writing the words of this teaching to the very end, Moses charged the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of the Eternal, saying, take this book of teaching and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Eternal your God, and let it remain there as a witness against you. Well, I know how defiant and stiff-necked you are. Even now, while I am still alive in your midst, you have been defiant toward the Eternal. How much more, then, when I am dead? Gather to me all the elders of your tribes and your officials, that I may speak all these words to them, and that I may call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that when I am dead, you will act wickedly and turn away from the path that I enjoined upon you, and that in time to come, misfortune will befall you, for having done evil in the sight of the Eternal, whom you vexed by your deeds. Then Moses recited the words of the following poem to the very end in the hearing of the whole congregation.
Okay. And the Torah portion ends like in the dun dun da, because it goes right into Ha'azinu, which is next week. So first of all, we have Chazak ve'ematz again. We have be strong and resolute, right? That's in 23. We have this whole ending part, which is kind of fire and brimstone a little bit to say, I know you're going to mess up. Like the messing up is coming. I know you're going to mess up. And when you mess up, just remember that I told you shouldn't mess up, because that's my job. My job is to tell you you're going to mess up. The likelihood is what? You're going to mess up. That's the likelihood. Why is that fit for us also, by the way, around this time? Because we're going to mess up, right? I mean, we're going to mess up. We're going to be strong and resolute. 3 times we're going to be reminded of that. We're going to try and reflect on this. We're going to try and fix our ways. It falls on Shabbat Shuvah. We're going to try and turn around and turn around and turn around. But we're going to screw up no matter what. We're going to mess this up. And when we mess it up, we are going to have to reflect back on this. Reflect back on this teaching that Moses is sharing with us, and come back to it. It's just going to happen over and over and over again. There's a reason why, by the way, we start the service on Erev Yom Kippur with Kol Nidre. What is Kol Nidre? It's the biggest loophole of loopholes ever created by anybody. Because well, what's Kol Nidre? It means all my vows. And the first thing we're doing in the new year is saying, hey, the vows that I'm going to give to you, please allow me to mess them up. That's what Kol Nidre is. That's what literally Kol Nidre is. We're standing there and we're saying to God, I already know that the promises I'm going to make, I'm not going to be able to keep all of them. So here's the loophole of loopholes. Forgive me already for the things that I'm going to already mess up, that I'm telling you I'm not going to mess up. I'm going to mess them up. Until next year, I'm going to try this again. Yes, Jay.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Beautiful, Rabbi. The first time I've ever heard it explained that way. That was absolutely.
Oh, thanks. I don't think it was that eloquent, but thank you. All right, yeah. Yes, thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So hearing be strong and resolute 3 times, and when we ask someone to forgive us for things that we've done, we ask them up to 3 times, and if they don't forgive us, then
You are absolved.
we're absolved. So
Yes.
is the 3 and 3, is there any?
Very nice. First of all, beautiful drash on that. Very nice connection. You should be a rabbi. Yeah. Yeah, you are not absolved, by the way. You should go to school together. That's great. You should go to school together. That'd be great.
That's the end.
It's fine. Yeah, so I think it's beautiful that the strength and the resolution that we can bring to something, or the strength within us is there 3 times, just like the courage we need for us to turn to someone and say, I'm sorry. Because all the praying and all the chest banging and all the fasting and all the standing and all the blah, 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 does nothing, you remember, for the relationships that we need to fix. That doesn't fix a single relationship, personal one. All that praying we're doing is just between us and God. If we need to fix something between a human and a human, you have to walk over to that person and say, I'm sorry. That's the only way that we fix that. There's no way that you can't pray that away. Yes?
I appreciate the micro, and I appreciate that a lot of what we talk about in this community is how we feel about it with ourselves. But I can't help but think about the macro. Like, if Moses had said this in 2021, we'd think he was a crazy person.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do we do with that? Like, I mean, this is abnormal behavior.
Well,
I know he's dying and wants to,
well, first of all, okay, so your question is, if we translated the words from what's happening here into text into 2021, people would think, okay, that guy's nuts. We're not listening to him, right? However, he's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. We are, I'll speak for myself, defiant, stiff-necked, don't really follow what I'm supposed to necessarily, even though I know what I'm supposed to follow. It's not that far off base for humans to act this way. It's not, and by the way, any prophets, if you walked into their ranting and raving about our behavior, you would think that they're nuts. Right? All those people who wear the sandwich boards, on the walk on the streets and say the end is near, right? That was probably Isaiah. I'm serious. The likelihood of what Isaiah looked like and how he spoke was probably Isaiah, probably Jeremiah, probably Ezekiel, probably all those people in our text. Because if you listen to what those people are telling you, is all they're saying over and over again is, you're doing this wrong. You're terrible. You're putting yourself in the wrong place. Your beliefs are out of whack. You're not giving enough tzedakah. You're self-centered. You act poorly. You don't care for the widow. You don't care for the poor. You just don't care, right? But that's not the guy you want at your dinner party, because he messes you up at your dinner party. Because it's easy to close the door and say, that guy's crazy, right? So don't forget that Moses is a prophet also. So he's sharing us the stuff that we probably don't want to hear, because I don't want to hear it, even though it might be true. Maybe. All those guys were probably nuts. They were probably crazy unshaven, probably weren't bathing a lot, probably wore those weird frocks and those weird outfits, and they were probably the ones who were yelling at you all the time. Wrong, 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 wrong. And you were like, okay, enough. Thank you, bye-bye. Sell crazy somewhere else. But that's probably what was going on. I use Isaiah because I know how much you love Isaiah. So, but you're not that far. You're not that far out. Here's where I want to end. Is with this, because I'm a Moses lover. So first of all, well, I'll say that for Moses lover. I have two Moses lover things I was going to say. I'll do one for next week. It's better fits for next week. But for this week, if you look at verse 24, it says, when Moses had put down in writing the words of this teaching to the very end. You know what that says in Hebrew? Vayehi kechalot Moshe lichtov et divrei haTorah hazeh. When he finished writing the Torah, to the very end, he gave it to the Levites to put into the ark, which then eventually, by the way, they made 13 copies, they made 12 copies of, and every tribe got a copy. But it says that he finished writing the Torah.
All of a sudden, we learned that Moses wrote the Torah.
Right, so Moses probably wrote the Torah.
Right at the end?
Not that he wrote it himself, but that he was dictating from what he heard.
What haven't we learned this year all along?
I don't know. That's why it's here. That's why it's in the text. Hypothetically, let's play the game, because it says the words of this teaching, right? And the word teaching is is there a capital T in your teaching? Mm-hmm. Yeah, capital T in my teaching. And if you look at the Hebrew, it says HaTorah. So it can literally just mean, by the way, this teaching, or it could literally mean the Torah, the scroll sitting right over here. But here's the problem, and which is why there's this beautiful commentary, that's painful, beautiful commentary. I mentioned it last night for a second, is that means he had to write in 2 weeks about his own death. He literally had to pen it himself. And there's this beautiful commentary that says that the last 12 sentences of the Torah, of the original scroll, are full of his tears. Because as he writes it, he's crying. Because he's writing about his own death. Because if he's handing the Torah to the Levites, it has to be done. The whole thing has to be done. So there's this weirdness about the last ending part, about who wrote it, where it comes from, but the text says HaTorah. Now, is it literally this teaching and not the Torah itself, like this teaching that we've been hearing for 37 days, or is it the Torah as in the Torah? Now, lots of squinting going on in the room. Everyone's like, huh?
I
So,
would Psukim, okay, which is from the time he led the Israelites from Mitzrayim
Yeah.
until his death. That's the part that maybe he saw as being the Torah.
Well, yes. The whole conversation about what parts he wrote and he didn't write and all that stuff is well, because he couldn't have done Genesis because he wasn't alive, but right, if you think of the literal way, if you think of the idea that there's no beginning and end, right, doesn't work like that. Torah isn't linear. Maybe he did write it, right? Maybe he's reflecting on it. Just saying. The Reform movement goes by the documentary hypothesis, which is that it was written, right, by humans. So that would make sense. And there are different parties who write it. This goes back to the book. Who wrote the Bible? You should go back and read it. It's really good if you haven't read it. Yes. What's that? Which poem that he's about to write? It's next week. Next week is the poem. Yeah, next week is the poem, which is why we're left in suspense, because the poem he's about to write is the poem he's about to write next week. So, what I have to say for you all is, Chazak ve'ematz. May be strong and resolute as we transition from leadership in our text and also as we enter and continue the 10 days of repentance into Yom Kippur. Chazak ve'ematz to you all.
This goes along with the end of every book where we say Chazak.
Exactly. Well, we don't say Chazak ve'ematz, but we say Chazak v'nit Chazak, but yeah. Robin is going to be chanting for us from the beginning?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So that's right at the beginning of the Torah portion. And move this out of the way. Anyone want to do the Aliyah this morning? Anyone? Aliyah? Aliyah? Okay. So we're on page 250. What's your Hebrew name? Ya Ya'amod Reuven Moshe ben David la Torah. Baruch Adonai Barach le'olam va'ed. Amen.
Amen. Vayelech Moshe vayidaber et hadvarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. Vayomer aleihem ben me'ah ve'esrim shana anochi hayom lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo v'Adonai amar elai lo ta'avor et hayarden hazeh Adonai Elohecha hu over lifanecha hu yashmid et hagoyim ha'ela milafanecha v'yirtam v'hoshua hu over lifanecha ka'asher diber Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashkoach. Yashkoach to you both. With the Torah still in front of us and amidst our Torah service, we think of those who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. If there is someone that you are thinking about, and wish to share their name, please share their name at this time. Mishaberach can be found on page 253.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We conclude our Torah service on page 256. 256.
Ki lecha tov natati lachem Torati al ta'azovu Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar geracheha darchei noam v'chol nativoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva. Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
The big announcement is that Yom Kippur is coming.
Is that right?
Yes.
When?
Oh, you know, Wednesday night. It'll be here. Wednesday night and Thursday. So it's going to be both. Just as a reminder, there are 2 Kol Nidres. We are going to be sending out an email, by the way, regarding the second Kol Nidre, that if you registered for the second Kol Nidre but plan on not attending, please let us know, because our numbers are actually quite high for the second one, but based on the percentage of people who registered and then also decided to watch on live stream, we really want to get as accurate of a count as possible. So an email will be coming out, I believe, Monday morning. So if you plan on not attending, just let us know. If you registered for the late one and you plan on not attending, out there in live stream world too, if you register for the late service and plan on not attending, please just let us know that you're going to be on the live stream. Yeah.
Do you remember what times they both are, and what the difference between the two of them?
Difference is nothing. They're the same, literally the same exact service. There'll be nothing changed between the two of them. The time is, I want to say 5:30 and 8, I think are the times. That sounds right. I think it's 5:30 and 8. 5:30, 6:37. Yes, it's 5:30 and 8. Those are the, yes.
I don't remember which one that I registered for, but I would prefer to be at the second one.
No, you have to register. You have to then call the office and switch on what you only can come to the one that you're registered for. But you can switch. Okay, all right, yeah. But again, out there in live stream world, if you registered for the late service but plan on doing the virtual, great. Just let us know, because we are close to our full number, our closed number. We're going to close it soon for Yom for Kol Nidre. Yom Kippur, of course, same. 3 services as a reminder, because something went out on paper that says that Yizkor is a separate service, like it has been in years past. It is not. It is built into every service. So the 9 a.m. has Yizkor, the 11:30 has Yizkor, and the 2 o'clock has Yizkor. And then you're also welcome to come back at 4:30 for Fast Talk with Dr. Bob in this very room. And then you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the services after that. We'll have Mincha, our afternoon service, and then Ne'ilah, our final closing service, and then Havdalah. What's the topic of Fast Talk? I don't know. Something Jewish. It's a holiness code. It's the holiness code, because that's the text that we study in the afternoon. So yes, the afternoon service has Kedoshim in it, which is the holiness code. So those are the big announcements. The other piece is that once the Chagim, or once the Yom Kippur is over, we have a bunch of other things happening. So our Nagel film series is coming up, a bunch of Sukkot stuff coming up. Yeah.
Is the film series in person?
No, the film series is going to be virtual. Yeah. But it's coming up. Yeah. God willing. We're going to do it, but we're unsure if to bring 50 people or 60 people into a small space with I don't know, so we weren't sure. All right. Aleinu, 282, and together we stand.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, v'lo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushemo echad.
Prior to us reciting Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, it is the 20th anniversary of 9/11 this morning, and so we of course think of all those who perished in that tragic events, in that tragic event and events on that day, all over our country, and continue to give strength to those families who are continually affected by that tragedy. That can't believe it was 20 years ago. So we reflect on that day, and like I said, continue to give strength and their memories shall be blessed forever and ever. The other note is that those of you who might be watching and have loved ones in the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, Rosh Hashanah actually ends Shloshim. So we will not be mentioning the Shloshim names today. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuot, all those cancel periods of Shiva and Shloshim and cut those days short. So whatever days were remaining of Shloshim were cut because of Rosh Hashanah. So we'll only be mentioning Yortzites this morning, just to mention if anyone was expecting to hear a Shloshim name, either here or on the live stream. So our Yortzites that occur for us on the Shabbat, Edith Bentman, Doris Cohen, Ebner Cohen, Iris Patricia Danoff, Charles Down, Irving Farash, Rosalie Freeman, Helen Fox Fromm, Daniel Fuchs, Bernice Galmakov, Gertrude Gare, Joseph Gersten, Carmelo Giannone, Charles Kenny, Bob Cochet, Alice Krimsky, Fanny Krimsky, Bernard Kotler, Murray Lobstein, Rosalind Lapsky, Linda Levy, Ruben Levy, Rhonda Lichtenger, Carl Lindenberg, Shlom Milstein, Evelyn Pasternak, Mary Postilnik, Mary Reiner, Adam Ross, Helen Sales, Ruth Sinensky, Shirley Singer, Sidney Sussman, Herbert Tamber, Jack Turner, Jerome Udoff, Robert George Vollmer, Herman Wapnowitz, Richard D. Werner, Marvin Zimmerman. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time?
Marvin Gubernick.
Randy Cooper, Mario Talia.
Kadisha Tom Mourners Kaddish 294. Yigadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, b'alma divrach chayoteh v'amlich malchuteh, b'chai echon v'yom echon v'chai dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. Aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. We're going to conclude with
America the
America the
Beautiful,
Beautiful. Oh.
which you could find on page 377. We're actually going to do the first verse and the verse that's on top of the right column as well. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed God's grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and freedom more than life. America, America, God shed God's grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood word, from sea to shining sea.
On this Shabbat Shuvah, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yamenu kekedem. Return us to you, and we will return. Renew our days as of old. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.